Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well. Ashley D. Will here, and today we have a video that is all about a difficult spouse. For all of you out there that have a difficult spouse, or you're going through a time where your spouse is being difficult, maybe some of these tips will be helpful for you. Okay, these are big picture tips. Okay, the first thing I would always suggest to people is to get close to the Lord. Number one, get close to the Lord, who will guide you, and can comfort you through the relationship, through the trial, through the trouble, through the valley, through the thick of it. He's the highest power, the Most High, and He can see everything. We're just these little peons down here. We can't see the big picture, right? So getting close to Him is a very powerful advantage, and He can give you the vantage point. He will give you His joy, and you can focus on Him. The more you focus on Him, the better things will get. All right, number two is to learn and apply boundaries with the spouse. You changing will alter the relationship. For number two, your changing will alter things. You don't want to try to change the spouse. It is literally impossible to try to change another person. But because you're married or because you're together in whatever way that is, there's two people doing a dance. And if one person doesn't like the dance, he doesn't have to wait for the other person to want to do a new dance that he wants to do. He can just simply start doing a different dance or pull away and not do that dance anymore. And that leaves this person unstable. They don't know what to do and they're forced to change. So I want to encourage you that you have a lot of power by the fact that you're in the relationship. You know, it's two people. That's 50-50. You know, if you have 50% of the weight in a relationship, that is very powerful. So keep that in mind. Some tips here for number two: you cannot ever change your spouse. It's not possible to change another person. So get that out of your mind. And then the next point is let this person be who they are. Just let go and let them be who they are. Especially if you do number one, the next tip is they are not your life source. When you connect to the Lord and join yourself with Him and get close to Him, God will use people in your life, but none of them are your life source, because He will be your life source. And that's the greatest advantage, because you're free. You're free from the control of other people. You're free from the manipulation of other people. You're free from all that. You don't have to participate in that if you don't want to. So remember that this person that is being difficult in your life is not your life source. Thus, if the relationship doesn't work out, you will still have the ultimate life source and you will be okay. When you're connected to Him, you will be okay. Guaranteed. Another tip for number two boundaries: you are a separate being from them. They're not you and you're not them. You have two different brains, two different hearts, two different circulatory systems, two different endocrine systems. You're separate bodies. Now, emotionally, spiritually, you may be overlapped and there may be enmeshment and codependency, and you can get a weed whacker and separate all that. But you are not the same person. Okay? Another tip is to practice separateness from the person. It's easy when you get into a relationship to start to see the other person as a surrogate parent. And that becomes codependency. You get enmeshed. And if they're not okay, you're not okay. And when they're gone, you just can't wait for them to come back. See, that's not healthy. So you want to use boundaries, realize that you're two separate people, and practice separateness. Say, I'm complete without this person. Yes, we're married. Yes, he or she's being difficult. But with or without them, I am complete without them. Especially if you do number one. You will be absolutely complete in Him, and He will be your life source regardless of what happens in your life. So what these boundaries promote in your life is safety. You protect yourself with boundaries. Self-protection, right? Separateness. I'm a separate being from this person. We can have a good relationship or not, but regardless, I'm separate from them. And it helps you develop self-control. Self-control, which is a very powerful trait to have. Number 3, you want to learn about and develop a sense of self. Now, I was raised in such an environment that I never developed a sense of self. I actually didn't even know what that was when I was in college. I'm not exaggerating. I was a mist floating in outer space. I never could develop a sense of self because that was dangerous for me to do. I would get in trouble. So over time, I have developed a sense of self, and it is wonderful. It is wonderful. So read about a sense of self and research it and learn about it, watch videos on it, or read articles or blogs on it. It's very important. You want to develop, as you develop your sense of self, you want to start to develop a full life apart from this other person. A full life apart from the spouse. That means that you have a life apart from them. You're a separate, complete being apart from them. You have friends other than them. You have activities that you're involved in outside of them, and you have a life. And so that establishes you and strengthens you and helps you cope with the relationship and strengthens your side of the relationship a lot. It makes you a lot more stable so that if they end up running off, you're not devastated. Look at all these friends I have to support me. Look at this life I've built. See, they're not my life source, and I'm going to make that evident in my life because I have a lot more life coming into me than just this person. Just a reference to number 1, you are complete in Jesus Christ. You're the most complete human you can ever be when you're in Christ. See? And then you want to always be watching out for and working on codependency tendencies and enmeshment tendencies. And all of those tentacles we talked about in the spiritual emotional way, the Lord or you can recognize one, or the Lord can show you one, and you can go, oh, I don't want that. And He can show you how to get out of it. Clip it, whatever it would be, and get out of it. He'll show you another one. Ooh, I don't want to be in that. See, He sets you free. He sets you free. That is what He does 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, is He sets people free. He releases the prisoners from their captors and from their dungeons and from their cells, prison cells. He sets them free. So you have the biggest advantage by getting close to Him, and He will give you insight and tricks and tips with all this stuff. Number 4, you want to get outside help. That means outside the circle of your relationship, your marriage, or your partnership, whatever it is. You want to get help outside of that. You reach outside the circle and you get help. And you do it with or without them. They say, hey, I want to come. I don't want y'all talking about me. Say, okay, come on. And you can always choose to have individual sessions apart from the ones with them if you need that. Or if they say, no, I'm not going to counseling. I'm not crazy, you are. You go to counseling. See, then you go by yourself and you get help. And so the person will have maybe experience, but knowledge about the things you can do, steps you can take, mindsets you can shift to strengthen yourself in the way you operate in the relationship and the decisions that you make regarding the relationship. They will also help you to learn new skills. They'll give you a higher perspective, and they will help you tiptoe toward healing in the relationship, and especially individually with yourself. Number 5 is, if you can, join a healthy, open community of supportive, people to strengthen you. When you're joined with other supportive people, the collective energy of that group strengthens you. See, you have all this support, so you're stronger and more stable in dealing with this difficult person over here. Number 6, if you come to the Lord and join yourself to Him, which I highly recommend, number 6 will be a natural outflow from that. You will pray that God's will be done in your life, in your heart, and in the relationship. You'll pray that the Lord would conform you to His image. Conform you to His image. And if you're married, ideally you want to honor the covenant, right? That was my situation. I wanted to honor the covenant, but I said, whatever your will is, that's what I pray. And so sometimes the Lord has to break apart people that are married so that He can deal individually with each one of them, or with one in particular who belongs to Him. So marriage is wonderful. God created marriage. He's the author of it. We would love for all marriages to work out perfectly, but we're in a fallen world and we got a lot of issues down here, so marriages don't always work out, and that's okay. Whether you stay married, whether you have to temporarily separate to make a point, or live separately, or you even end up getting divorced, as long as you're praying these things, it'll be okay. It will be okay, honestly. Number 7, you want to evaluate the relationship. Evaluate it. Is this a disappointing relationship or marriage? Is this disappointing? Wow, I thought this relationship was going to be so much better, but I'm just so disappointed. Or is it a difficult relationship overall, or is it a difficult period? Are you going through a difficult issue? So you got to evaluate what you're dealing with. And then lastly, is it destructive? That means, is the relationship slowly destroying you? That is a huge red flag. That's a huge red flag. You want to pay attention to that. And there's a book that can help you get better perspective on your relationship. It's by Leslie Vernick, Vernick, and the name of it is The Emotionally Destructive Relationship. That book is very helpful to give you insight into what is going on between you and your other. Okay, very important. If the relationship is destructive, you're going to need to save yourself from that relationship. If you don't, you're going to reap what you sow. That means you're going to get into your life, into your mind, into your body, all of the evil, dark, destructive seeds that you are allowing to come in by staying in that relationship. And then number 8, one thing you can do that will help you overall in your life, and especially if you're going through a hard season with your other, or if they're just difficult to deal with in general, every single day, do one thing that you love. One thing that you love. It can be small, taking a little walk, picking a flower, watching your favorite show, making your favorite treat or meal, any little thing, petting your cat, taking your dog for a walk, having a good cry, calling up that friend that always makes you feel better. Whatever it is, do one thing a day, just one thing that you love, okay? Whether it's taking a walk, contacting someone, doing a hobby, maybe a sport you like, something creative, but whatever it is from your heart that you love, do one thing a day. That can help your sanity when you're going through this. 2 last points. When you are going through a difficult time, or you're in a difficult relationship, however the difficulty presents itself, a difficult time is always an opportunity for growth. I want you to remember that. Difficulty and any difficult time or situation is an opportunity for you to see things you haven't seen before, and make shifts that you haven't made before, and make changes you haven't made before. It's an opportunity to grow up, okay? And so that's really important to remember. Don't let it just freak you out or trigger you or traumatize you. That may happen, but pray and say, Lord, help me see how I can grow through this. Very important. Otherwise, all the difficulties and triggers are wasted. You don't want to do that. And then lastly, if you have a trauma background, this is going to be more difficult for you because it's going to be triggering you all the time. And like me, I would look to the top dog to get direction, the one who's in control of everything, the one who has all power and all knowledge. he is the one to get close to, because he reveals all truth. He heals your wounds. He guides you through the storm. He protects you through the storm. See, you gotta do number one. So anyway, I hope those tips were helpful. If you're going through a difficult time and or have a difficult spouse, I pray that these tips will help you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and you guys have a blessed day.